GCN Plus, our brand new streaming service for live racing and awesome cycling films and documentaries, launched last month. We talked you through some of the first 24 films that we released, but from now on, 2 more films will be released each and every week. So in this video, we are going to look ahead at the next month of releases, and whilst none of them should be missed, we're going to pick out some to look at a little more closely. And we're going to start with Africa Solo, parts 1 and 2. Mark Beaumont's Around the World in 80 Days film has been one of the most popular in the initial 24, and we were absolutely delighted to have secured the rights to his adventure that preceded those 80 days. Racing the length of Africa, as the title suggests, solo. And yes, unlike the 80 Days Around the World, this was totally unsupported. Now, a short edit of this epic exists, but Mark was able to supply hours more unseen footage, and we've cut it into the beautiful epic documentary that it deserves.
My mind's just consumed with what's about to happen. I'm about to get swallowed up by a hole in the earth.
And who better to talk you through this adventure than Mr. Mark Beaumont himself?
Africa Solo was my world record attempt from the top of Africa to the bottom. From Cairo to Cape Town, 6,000 miles, 10,000 kilometers. And it kind of got all wrapped up in the Round the World in 80 Days project, because I went straight from Africa to taking on that 18,000 miles around the planet. Bikepacking on my own, friendship of strangers, those incredible landscapes going through the Sahara Desert, the Ethiopian highlands, the mountain regions, the great grasslands, the great savannas of Tanzania, Botswana, South Africa. I mean, just everything that you would hope to get out of an unsupported ride. Trying to figure out where you're going to sleep every night, water rationing. Whilst it was a race and it was a Guinness World Record attempt, most of the adventure happens off the bike, not on the bike. And I tell you what, if I was to go back to any continent and explore more at the speed of a bike, it would be Africa.
The one thing that most people associate with Zambia are the spectacular Victoria Falls in the Zimbabwe border. Zambia, unlike most of its neighbours, has managed to avoid the war and upheaval that has marked much of Africa's post-colonial history. It has good mineral resources and a fast-growing population.
Next on our list of films is a beautiful documentary about a little-known phenomenon called Andrew Feather. He's a lawyer in his 30s, but he also happens to be a naturally gifted cyclist that came to the sport late, but who is making up for lost time with over 4,000 KOMs on Strava and the 6th fastest time up Alpe d'Huez. Here to tell you a little bit more is Ollie, who doesn't actually like Andrew very much because he stole all his KOMs.
Fortunately, I'm not the only one that Andrew Feather takes KOMs of. He's pretty much anyone. I mean, he's anyone that lives in this area in Bath and the southwest of England. He just goes around humiliating people on Strava, just hoovering up all the KOMs. It's just a remarkable athlete, and what's incredible is his power numbers, his watts per kilo and his VO2 max. He's been tested in the lab at Bath University. What he's physiologically capable of is right up there with the best in the Tour de France. Except he's not in the Tour de France. He has a full-time job as a solicitor and a family, and just rides hill climb races at weekends for fun. So that's what we did. We decided to follow him in the hill climb season, which takes place in Britain in the months of September and October, to follow his campaign in a bid to become the UK national champion for a second time. And yeah, it's just an amazing watch. And along the way, like one of my favourite things that features in the film, I won't spoil it, but there's a climb called Hard Knot Pass in the Lake District, which is regarded as the hardest climb in the UK. It reaches 33%, and I mean, it's a total wall. Andrew had never been up it before, so we decided to unleash the feather on Hard Knot and see what he could do. Some very quick riders have been up there, but well worth the watch. Definitely well worth the watch.
Everyone's always looking for authenticity. So hill climbs have that in spades. They have like tons of authenticity because you can't minimize gravity and you can't minimize the conditions of a hill. So people have to ride up it and they have to suffer.
The classic thing about the British hill climb scene is that the hills vary, so you get the short climbs, you get the long climbs. The best riders are the guys who can ride all of those hills. I think hill climbing is both a mental and a physical challenge, and I think they're equally important.
So someone like Andy Feather at the moment, I mean, he's probably an archetypal hill climber. He's utterly committed to the hill climb, and he's found that niche, he's found this one thing that rewards him intensely.
To another, this time it's the next in our Legend series. Perfectly timed for the classic season, we were lucky enough to spend time with the Lion of Flanders himself, Johan Museo. Now, in spite of, or maybe because Johan likes a Belgian beer or two, Bernie Eisel got to go rather than me. I'm not bitter. I am.
Bernie, so you went up to Belgium to visit Johan Museo, the Lion of Flanders, who is an absolute legend of the sport, and particularly in Belgium. And actually your careers overlap slightly. So is he the same person that you remember him being as you were growing up watching bike racing or even racing with him, or has he changed a bit since he retired?
He definitely changed a little bit, but still what struck me the most is like his passion and everything. He still goes to Spain for training, and he's pretty much every day out there on the bike and just loves riding and follows everything. But still, he changed a little bit, I have to admit, because I remember Johan, he didn't chat much in the bunch or something. He was a quiet one, and most of the time I just actually just tried to stay on his wheel.
Well, I was going to ask you who was better over the cobbles now. Obviously, in his career, he was a bit better than you were, and a lot better than I was. But I presume he's kept a bit fitter than you have, even though you've retired a lot later.
He's definitely fitter than me, and I mean, he's not the youngest anymore. I think I can say that. I'm allowed to say that after I met Johan. But it's still like in him. He's still a racer. I mean, it hasn't changed. He's still really competitive, and just wants to go out there, enjoy himself, and that also means to suffer.
And what's your lasting memory from your trip to go and see him? You know, what did you take home from those few days that you spent in Belgium with Johan?
It's a good question. The passion and the joy for riding a bike. I mean, that is, for me, I just retired and I've kind of had a bit of enough of cycling and everything around. But then to see him just being so enthusiastic and going out there every day on the bike and just enjoying himself, I mean, that really struck me.
If you are here at the bottom, really full legs, then you know that you can do something. So here you feel already if you can win Tour de Flanders or no.
Probably it's also the time that we do a little race, test ourselves again, and let's see who's the first on the top.
This is really my favorite climb.
Now let's go. Jesus.
And finally, from a legend of the cobbles to three legends of dirt. Not gravel, but mountain biking. The Theertons are without doubt cycling's fastest family, Rachel, G and Dan. Siblings who for the last decade have been synonymous with downhill and freeride. With their talents seemingly endless, this is a seriously spectacular film. And if you don't think you're into mountain biking, you probably will be by the end of it.
I don't think anybody would argue that the Theertons are a massive force in the off-road world, and there's simply so many layers to what they've achieved over the years. I suppose the simplest measure of their success is what they've done at World Cup level. Both Rachel and G, multiple world champions and World Cup Series winners. And remember, Rachel, the only person ever to have completed a season unbeaten. So I think individually and collectively they are quite a family. I mean, they're all very uncompromising, super athletes, and I don't think any of them ever leave anything on the hill. But I think there's the other side of the Athens, what they've done behind the scenes. For example, they've created these massive jump lines. They've created the hardline event, arguably one of the toughest downhill races in the world. And I suppose they could be partly responsible for dragging mountain biking out of obscurity. I can't think of any other off-roaders who've been on Question of Sport like Rachel has, or G being on Top Gear with Jeremy Clarkson. So I suppose you've got to give it to the Athens. They've definitely made mountain biking mainstream.
It's how close you dare build something to what you think you can do. You know, it's nice when you build something that is well within your comfort zone, or you know, only takes 70% of your skill as an athlete. But I think when you build something that you know you're only going to be able to do it is if you give absolutely everything you've got, and it's going to use up every ounce of your talent. I think that's scary. It's quite an unsettling feeling to do something like that. So I think it's just trying to prove to myself that I can do it, I think.
Now, the films are going to be released every Tuesday and Friday, and also remember that you can see trailers for all of them on the GCN Plus YouTube channel, so make sure you check them out. I've been loving getting your feedback on the initial 24 documentaries that we released at the start of February. Please continue to give us that, and I very much look forward to hearing what you've got to say about the upcoming releases.